The Brock Eagles just keep on rolling. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Brock Eagles Football Show, brought to you by S2S Septic Services, right here on L4 Media, as the Brock Eagles dispatch of Lubbock Estacado 65-18, and another great performance by the offense, though a little bit different last week, and I love that. It was the running game, and we haven't really talked a ton about the running game this year. Of course, Holt Frazier and Colt Matlock have done such a great job in the passing game. They've taken a lot of the headlines. You didn't really have a true one lead back. You have a bevy of backs, which I always love when an offense has multiple backs. And they were able to stymie a Lubbock Estacado team with over 200 yards rushing and mainly just playing keep away from a very dynamic player in Cedric Ross. My God, how magical was that dude for Estacado? He's going to be playing on Saturdays. I think he had 10 touches, 100 and something yards running and receiving, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he basically was everything for them. But it's the Brock Eagles who keep on going. And here we are once again, my favorite time of the football year. And that, of course, is Thanksgiving week football. I mean, you just can't beat this week. All the way from the pros down to the high school, just action-packed. This is one of the only weeks that by Sunday afternoon, I will say, okay, I'm kind of tired of football. I need a 24-hour break from football because I will have consumed so much football between Thanksgiving morning when the Lions start all the way to Sunday night. I can't even remember who it is this Sunday night that's playing. And then I'll have to take a break. And then we'll be back Monday for Outdrank the Coverage. Check that out each and every week on YouTube. But anyway, we're going to do what we always do. That's, of course, talk to the head coach of the Brock Eagles, Coach Billy Matthysse. And we'll do that when we come back right here on the H&S Septic Services Brock Eagle Football Show. We do want to thank our sponsor, and that's H&S Septic Services. You can find them online at hssepticservicestx.com. You can give them a call, 682-266-1152 or 682-214-6037. On their website, they actually just have a request service button. Now, they service the Weatherford, Texas, and surrounding areas, Parker County, Hood County, all around there. Even if you're not specifically in one of those, give Mike a call anyway. You might be surprised. He might can help you. They have emergency services available. They have 1-year labor warranties. They have many discounts, and they honor almost all manufacturer warranties, and they've been doing this a long time. Mike's a great dude. He helps run a football league and all the things that he does. So we do appreciate them being our sponsor here in 2025. All right, now let's get back to Terry and Coach Billy Matthysse. Terry Bennett back here on the Brock Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Eagles, Coach Billy Matthysse. And Coach, congratulations, another playoff win. What were your thoughts?
Man, I was very proud of the boys. Man, what a game. At Lubbock Estacado, one of the most explosive teams in the state, and us to be able to go out there and, really handle them the way we did. I was very excited for us. Excited the way defensively that we were able to line up. And, we played a lot of just base defense and controlled the line of scrimmage. Offensively, I thought we did a great job going out and executing, same type of thing, staying on track, staying in front of the chains. We were very balanced on, what we did. So it was exciting, those type of games, when you play teams like Estacado, have got guys like Ross and them, they can break a touchdown from anywhere on the field. You just don't sleep well when you're playing those type of teams or those type of explosive athletes.
And we've talked all year about the passing game, but man, the running game, over 200 yards, playing keep away from, like you said, Cedric Ross. And it's funny because it felt like Cedric Ross didn't have a great game for them, but then you go back and he averaged 10 yards a carry and had a touchdown. That's just how athletic he was. But y'all's running game, playing keep away, I think really frustrated them.
Yeah, you're right. It did. And he just, he had a big catch and just cut it back on us, and he had a couple big runs, and they get in there behind that gigantic offensive line, and he's so quick, and you think you have him bottled up, and all of a sudden he'd bounce outside, and he'd run 10 yards backwards and get the outside edge of you, and we bent, we never really broke, so it was good. And the way our run game went, Big Briar back there run the ball, and Levi Dean, and the O-line did a great job of getting up there and executing because they had a lot of guys, that running through gaps and doing all the different stuff. Our guys did a great job of staying cool and calm and just going out there and not trying to do too much, with all the movement that they had and just talking, communicating, and going out there and having that, hey, let's go get 3, let's go get 4, let's go get 5. That type of mentality is going to lead to the bigger carries. That type of mentality is going to lead to first downs, and, first downs lead to touchdowns.
All right. Well, you now move on to what I consider the best week of football every year between the NFL, college, to Friday day playoff games in high school. What does Thanksgiving week mean for the Brock program?
First off, just the thankfulness, right? That Thanksgiving is, being thankful that, not only that God sent his son Jesus to die for us, that God put all these young men and these coaches in this town. It wasn't an accident that we're all here. It was by his perfect plan, and being thankful to be a part of that. And such a great place to have a place to raise my kids, to live and work in. I couldn't be any more grateful, any more thankful. And then to have the football team that we have, man, we don't have just some regular old football team. We got an amazing football team. We got a team that can go out and win a state championship. So that type of, when you sit back and look at it, it doesn't happen for everybody. And that's just the truth. But to see that and to be part of it, man, it's a great deal. And you're right. Who doesn't love practicing football over Thanksgiving? I know our kids do. Hey, they get up there in the morning, they're in a good mood because they know when practice is over, they get to go hang out with their buddies or their girlfriends. They don't have to go into the school building, so they're even more excited. And, playing football on Friday, getting that opportunity to still be playing, our kids are very thankful and grateful that, hey, their season's still going. They want that season to continue. So this week of practice it's been pretty intense. Seminole runs a very fast-paced offense, a very sound, very physical defense. So we had to go out this week and, try to emulate that. And it's not always the easiest thing, but man, the boys have really stepped up this week. Practice has been fast and furious, having to calm them down a little bit. So, the week of Thanksgiving, it is the best week for football all year long, from, just like you said, from high school all the way up to the pros.
Now, what will y'all be doing on Thanksgiving Day? What does the team do? Do y'all have a breakfast or a lunch after practice?
So we come in, we get a ton of the town that comes in and watches practice. We go do our Thursday, kind of walk through practice that we do, go out there and it's just helmets. And, man, we get together, get people there in the town that, pray over the boys. We go out there and, do our practice and sit around, take pictures, and then send everybody off. Now, all the moms, they want to cook all this breakfast and all this food, and I have to tell them every year, don't cook all this food because we're about to all go eat somewhere. But they got the best moms out here in the world, and let me tell you, they can flat out cook. So, yeah, they'll always bring up a little bit of breakfast, and after practice, we'll sit around and eat it, and then we go off and go enjoy our families and try to make sure that we, don't eat too much, and because we're going to get up early. We got to leave by 7 o'clock, Friday morning to get out to San Angelo by 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, back-to-back San Angelo. Love the stadium, but that is one of the I don't know what it is about it, but it feels like it takes forever to get to San Angelo.
Yeah, it does. Once you get past Coleman and all that, you feel like you should be almost there, but you're not. But yeah, so I thought we were gonna have a chance to play in Sweetwater, but that ended up not working out. So San Angelo was gracious enough to host us again, and of course, I told the boys, hey, we're going back to San Angelo. They didn't care. They just excited to still be playing. So, but it's an amazing stadium, man. The weather's going to be nice. So, 1 o'clock kickoff. Oof. That kind of has a little bit of, just getting out there. The biggest deal for us is, fueling up before the game, not eating too much that morning, having something about 2 hours before the game, making sure that you're full of energy and ready to go.
I have to ask you, last question. Are you a dressing or stuffing fan?
That's funny because we were talking about that today in the coach's office. I'm a dressing fan. I love dressing, and I love cranberry sauce on top of it, and I love giblet gravy. So I can take a whole plate of that and eat it. And I'm not very disciplined when it comes to that type of stuff, but I absolutely love it.
So you're saying tomorrow about 9 o'clock on that bus, that stomach's gonna start rumbling on you of all that dressing you're about to eat or you ate.
Guaranteed. There's no doubt.
As always, I want to thank Coach Matthysse for joining us here, especially this week. Thanksgiving week gets a little hectic for the coaches. Not in the way you think. It's mainly because now most schools are out the whole week. And so Matthysse is, coaching in the morning, but in the afternoons, there's that honeydew list that's been building over the football season that he has to take care of during this week of football. In fact, when I called him, he was moving a trash can and having a battle with a spider. It was epic, I promise you. I want to remind everybody, we talk 4A football each and every week on Sideline to Sideline. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/at L4 Media Company. We pick and talk every playoff game in 4A, especially as the games get, less games. We'll do more in depth on every game. We have a coach named Coach X that writes in with humorous ramblings and diatribes. We also have Playoff Tree up because, well, it's playoff season. And he's a fun dude, or fun tree, I guess you'd say, to talk about. He's a little sad, though. Woodville got eliminated, but Pine Tree's still alive, so he is happy about that. And you can also check our audio version of those out on all audio or all podcast platforms and on our podcast page, S2S.com. All right. Season's starting to get serious now. Seminole, I think, is the best team that Brock has probably played since Graham. And, they've got a couple studs on their team now. In saying that, I think Brock will win comfortably. But you're going to start getting tested now, of course, next week. You have the chance to have that Graham rematch or Midland Greenwood. Both of those teams are really, really good. I think Greenwood's going to win that game, but I think it's going to be a really, really close game. And, man, it wouldn't just be fun to play, a couple teams you haven't played so much. We were talking before we started recording. It's weird how you've only been in 4A for this will be your second year, but it feels like you've played the same teams, over and over. Finally, Seminole, a new team, and then Midland Greenwood, if they were to advance, would be a new team as well. Though, the rivalry with Graham, it wouldn't hurt to play them the fourth time in a calendar year. All right. Enjoy Thanksgiving. I'm recording this on Thanksgiving morning, as a matter of fact. Enjoy the turkey. Enjoy the football. Safe travels to your football games that you're going to. And let's meet back here next week on the H&S Septic Services Brock Eagle Football Show on L4 Media.